All right, Crossroads Sports. Thank you for hanging in there. We had a little technical difficulties on the audio side, but Crossroads Sports, we are live here for our Crossroads Sports Bracketology special. Myself, Jonathan Birdsong, and our college basketball guy, Nick Peterson. Gentlemen, the brackets are out. March is here.
Sure, March Madness. Beware the eyes of March. All those things, man, that you wanna say at this time, man. We went through a whole lot of championship weekends. You know what I'm saying, between the Big Ten, the ACC, the Horizon, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, all that is behind us now, and you know what I'm saying, the snubs are out there, right? I'm sure we touch on that a little bit, but like you know what I'm saying, as far as these brackets is concerned, you know what I'm saying, they everything's kind of locked. So yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, the last four teams that the committee had in Boise State, Colorado, Virginia, and Colorado State. The first four out was Oklahoma, Seton Hall, Indiana State, and Pittsburgh. I think everybody and their brother was talking about Virginia. How the hell did Virginia get in there for what they've done? And obviously, locally around here, Indiana State not making it. Obviously, their season was. But then the Mountain West gets 6 teams. If you would have told me I had $1,000 free bet to put down before the season that said the Mountain West would get 6 teams, the Big East would get 3, I would have made that bet and lost it immediately. Crazy that happened. Nick, what was your thoughts when kind of the brackets came out with that?
Yeah, my initial thought was really had to do with the conference tournaments themselves and how many bids that got stolen. I think it was kind of unprecedented. They even talked about it on the selection show about how how they kind of had to scramble there at the end to really truly get the bracket together. When you had Oregon, NC State, UAB all stealing bids, within the last 24 hours. So what a challenging job they had. I think they did a pretty darn good job. Of picking the 68 teams that should be in it.
Yep. John, your thoughts when the bracket initially came? Because I know I saw you on Twitter. How the hell did Virginia?
Because Virginia, can they the homie JMB talking about can they score 39? I think they can score 46 points, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle because they play. You know what I'm saying? Coach Bennett, they play mad defense. So that is what it is, man, with that team. Because Virginia, this ain't necessarily McDonald's All-American powerhouse for them. So, but nah, man, I ain't really had any problem with the brackets. The seeding is gonna be kind of a little wonky, man. I know Florida Atlantic, man, they got prayed for just because they were Final Four team last year, but they perhaps maybe shouldn't have been an 8 seed. You know what I'm saying? Some folks said they had them out the tournament. I didn't have them out the tournament. That would be blasphemous. My personal opinion kind of say that. But Florida Atlantic, an 8 seed, that's seeding, but you can't really lose your mind too much about seeding. When you talk about who made it and who didn't make it, again, Indiana State plays in the one bid. You know what I'm saying? One team goes. And that's kind of how everything historically goes with them. The writing is on the wall, folks. You know what I'm saying? The networks don't really, they don't really care about the mid majors like that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they should. And you know what I'm saying, that and to an even lesser degree, the NIT don't even, you know what I'm saying, if you look at the NIT, who's in and who ain't, you know what I'm saying, there's some teams that still pretty Big East heavy, you know what I'm saying, that's in the NIT. But, regardless of all those politics that kind of go, you know what I'm saying, in these tournaments, man, if you ask me, you know what I'm saying, as far as like who should have made, I mean, it's still a pretty good field. It's still a real good field. If you know about college basketball, you know what I'm saying, you're excited that Drake is in. You know about college basketball, Morehead State is in. If you saw about college basketball, you know what I'm saying, South Dakota State. You know what I'm saying, I'm naming all the, you know what I'm saying, the mid majors, and you know what I'm saying, the surprises. Everybody thinks that Iowa State might make it to the Final Four, so you have to be excited about this field.
Did you like the conspiracy theory that's been going around since last night that the reason why the Big East only got 3 teams in was because the majority of all their games are only on Fox, while the Mountain West has all their games on CBS Sports Network. So CBS is doing the tournament, so they wanted to get their teams that more pub. That was the latest conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy probably ain't.
Put that next to the JFK double shooter.
Nah, because in all actuality, then if that was the case, then St. John's would have got in. That's a New York school. They would have got in, and you know, saying somebody else like Duquesne or somebody would have got bounced out. But
do you see? And before we'll go into it, they NC State player, and we can talk about it on our show Wednesday, John, but NC State player has already entered the transfer portal. There's a guy that already answered it today before the tournament even started.
Oh,
like,
he must know
somebody
he ain't
tweeted
playing.
back, goes, can't the guy wait one more week?
Right.
So
funny.
Crazy. So, gentlemen, we got the top 4 seeds. No question, really, on the top 4. UConn number 1. Second overall seed was Houston. Third was Purdue. Fourth was North Carolina. The thoughts, guys. I agreed with the number 1 seeds. I didn't see really an issue. Is there any nerves or any hesitation the fact that 3 of these 4 got bounced in the conference tournaments early?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, my 4th 1 seed, who I think should have gotten it, was Iowa State, actually, by winning the Big 12 tournament. They've been a top 10 team for the last month or 2 months of the season. So I thought their sort of entire body of work was a little bit better than North Carolina's. And then to see them then get paired with the number 1 overall seed, UConn, I thought was a huge slight to Iowa State.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Iowa State's one of those teams you don't want to see kind of tournament time. They put a mollywhopping on Houston in that tournament. I was shocked. Overall, rest of the seeds wise, I like the Auburn as the 4th seed. We'll kind of go through there. Purdue by top 4 seed totals. The Midwest region is the hardest if you go off of the seed totals score, because they all have to be similar when they do it. The East was a 36, the South was a 33, the West was a 35, and the Midwest was a 32. So the lower is the hardest. And so we go Midwest, South, West, and then UConn, number 1 seed, quote, would have the easiest, which I don't understand how that would be possible, but I digress. So let's jump into that. We'll dive right in. First up on the screen here, we're going to show is going to be the East region. And we've got UConn and Stetson in the opener. I kind of like that Northwestern Florida Atlantic game, that 8-9. I think that's tasty. I know a lot of people look at Florida Atlantic, obviously with the greatness that they did last year,
right,
and that they're going to expand on that. Dude, I've seen enough boo-booey. I've seen enough boo-booey against my Boilermakers that I like Northwestern beating Florida Atlantic in that first game there in that 8-9. And then just a couple highlights. The rest of this one for me, Drake and Washington State down at the end, but then obviously we've got the Iowa State down at the bottom. Yeah, overall, I kind of like a little chalky for this one for me. I've got Auburn going to the Sweet 16 against UConn, and I've got Illinois against Iowa State, and then my Elite 8 here, I've got UConn versus Illinois, and then I've got actually UConn beating Illinois to go to the Final Four. But I like Illinois to make a deep run. I like what I saw in the Big Ten tournament and kind of all season with them.
I haven't necessarily filled out my entire bracket. When I look at this, you know what I'm saying? God rest you, you're a gentleman from Florida. That's a Florida school, Stetson. They're not beating the UConn Huskies. You know what I'm saying? I think they're playing Brooklyn, but they're not. I'm gonna get like Stephen. They're not beating the UConn Huskies in Brooklyn. No. And I'll just so like, man, UConn this is a matchup nightmare for most G League teams, much less you know what I'm saying, a team. You know what I'm saying? This is first time Stetson's been in the tournament since like never. When Brandon talks about Florida Atlantic and Northwestern, that's gonna be a very close game. I thought Northwestern. I don't think Northwestern has all its players. I know Boo Boo is playing. I think they got another significant injury. I don't double check me on that one, but still, that team ain't none of those coaches gonna fool one another. So you know what I'm saying. That's how. If you ask me who's gonna come out on top of that, I'm gonna say Northwestern. You know what I mean? I think Northwestern kind of edges over that in a close game. San Diego State and UAB. Again, UAB, first time being in the tournament since a long time. No way they beat. It'll be competitive, but no way they beat San Diego State. San Diego State, last year's runner-up, was in the last year, you know what I'm saying, was in the Final Four last year. Can they smell another Final Four? I don't know. That's kind of hard to do for a major. What can we call them? A large mid major now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, no, but like I got them over UAB, Auburn, Yale, man. Yale ain't got yeah, might they gonna hit a couple threes, man, but they ain't got a chance against Auburn, man. Auburn gonna probably hit up 90 points on them dudes, man. For real. BYU Duquesne kind of intrigues me, man. I kind of got the upset there, bro. Kind of got the upset there, man. I'm going with Duquesne on that one, and then the other one, Washington and Drake. I kind of want to go with Drake in the upset, but Washington State, dude, they beat. Correct me wrong, they beat Arizona twice this year. You know what I'm saying? And though Drake is a older team, you know what I'm saying. A lot of those dudes got like beards, but like mine. You know what I'm saying? I still would go with Washington State over there. Iowa State is probably coming out of this bracket. But yeah, it's gonna probably be a hell of a matchup when they meet up with Illinois for sure.
Okay. Nick?
My big take on this region is I think it's by far, at least at the top of the bracket, the best region. When you look at KenPom, one of the metrics, right? They've got UConn number 1, Auburn number 4, Iowa State 5, and Illinois 10. So you're talking 4 of the top 10 teams in the country in that bracket alone. Your 1 through 4 seeds. I actually think Auburn got very misseeded. I think they should have been maybe even as high as 2. So I think they're definitely the best 4 seed in the entire bracket. So that's tough for UConn first and foremost. And then,
Nick, you may check your mic. It's cutting a little bit. You're muted. Or it's not. Now I got nothing. I heard. Nope.
It jumped on him. See,
it jumped down. Now the deep state went to him. Shit, this doesn't bode well for me.
Y'all doing too good in your broadcasting. We got to jump on in there. You might. What I had to do was change to my phone, and it went. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and jump to that, Nick. I'll kick you out from here.
No, man. Which one you want to go through next, Brandon?
Well, we'll talk to him for a second. We'll talk that. So I got my bracket on the big. I got a new TV, by the way, that's installed in the office, big 60-incher. So I've got the bracket actually on there as well. So I'm looking at John. No, I think Auburn can. Like I said, I like Auburn making a run there. Unfortunately, I got chalky with. I like UConn. I like Auburn. I like Illinois and Iowa State there to all to kind of make their push. All right, Nick, can you hear me? Nothing.
What?
Still no audio. So you may have to go to your settings, Nick. Edit your mic. Go to settings. Edit mic settings. You might be able to change it there.
Why did it do that? There it goes. I just heard something for like a hot second.
Yeah, it's not. No. Damn, Deep State didn't want to hear him talking about that, and he's got the valuable knowledge.
Right, he does.
I know. Trying to see if
everybody gonna think we talking about Kenny. We're talking about Kenny Pickett finally made a statement to the media.
Yeah, I saw it. Whatever with him.
He didn't want no smoke. He didn't want to compete. He still ain't gonna compete because like he ain't snatching that starter. He ain't gonna be no starter no time soon in Philadelphia.
Yeah. While we're waiting for him, John, just kind of look at some news and notes from around this bracket here. I did like Drake a little bit, kind of as you said there, for what they've done. But when I'm sitting here looking at Drake versus a Pac-12 team that, as you said, beaten Arizona twice, I can't go against that kind of record with Washington State. So that's why I took Washington State over Drake in that one there. I couldn't not go do it.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
All right, good. I had to take the headphones out.
Okay. No worries. So back to, as you were saying, sir. Something about the East with the teams.
Yeah, so I just think at least top heavy. I think those top 4 seeds are the best 4 seeds of any bracket. I also think BYU as a 6 seeds pretty damn good too. So to me, this is the toughest bracket, in the tournament this year, and I still think UConn's probably going to come out of that bracket, but I could see Iowa State, I could see Auburn. I mean, potentially Illinois, potentially BYU. I think that one's pretty open. Tough draw for the defending champs.
Yeah, I totally agree there. When I was looking at my upset possibilities there, like I said, the only one I really had there, Drake, I couldn't trust because I like Washington State, what they're doing. Duquesne, I kind of feel like they backed into their conference championship there. I mean, I know they played well towards the end, but I didn't like what I saw during the season. And then San Diego State, UAB, I didn't really know too much with UAB. I know they kind of made their run. Then they in their tournament they blitzed. I think it was Temple there. So, but yeah, on her, I have the chalk, unfortunately. So, gentlemen, I had UConn coming out of this region. Nick, who do you like coming out of this region?
Yeah, I'll take UConn.
UConn as well. JB?
Surprise, surprise. We're going to go with Iowa State.
Iowa State for John. All right. So I'll put some graphics together. They'll go up on the Facebook page for our picks. That way then people can ridicule us when we get it completely wrong and go from there. So the next region, gentlemen, is going to be not that one I need to do. It'd be the West region here. At the bottom of that same quadrant there we have North Carolina Tar Heels, the number 1 seed, a spicy 8-9 matchup again, Mississippi State versus Michigan State, St. Mary's against Grand Canyon, the 5-12, Alabama, Charleston, Clemson, New Mexico, Baylor, a hot Baylor team. Baylor scares me, by the way. And then against Colgate, Dayton versus Nevada, and then Arizona against Long Beach State with the wild coach's story with Long Beach State, the dude, and they agreed to separate, and at the end of the season, next thing you know, they go and win their conference tournament, which is wild. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But for me, looking, guys, my favorite matchup in this region is the Mississippi State, Michigan State. Izzo and March as the 9 seed. I like them beating Mississippi State just because it's Izzo, but that's probably chalky. I think everybody's going to take them. So it would not shock me for Mississippi State to win. As a sleeper pick, Grand Canyon, I can see Grand Canyon upsetting St. Mary's in this game. I don't have it, but I can see that being an upset special. I like New Mexico. I have New Mexico beating Clemson in this game. In that first round matchup, I got Nevada with Alford beating Dayton in the 7-10. If I look ahead at the rest of my bracket, I've got Carolina versus Alabama in the Sweet 16. And I've got Baylor versus Arizona. I got North Carolina and Arizona in the Elite 8 against each other. And I'm going to take Arizona to come out of that quadrant to go to Phoenix, close to home for the Final Four. Arizona screwed me last year when I had them in a couple of things when they lost the first game, which it took all the pressure off them when Purdue lost. So nobody thought about Arizona when they lost as a 2 seed.
Right.
But I've got Arizona going back to the Final Four here. In this region. But, yeah, I like Carolina. Caleb Love going back to take on his old team there in the Elite 8. So, John, what do you like?
Man, I'm kind of thinking, man, North Carolina should be real fearful if Izzo beats Mississippi State. I'm being for real. I think they still have the better team because they got guards that can pump in more offense. But like, man, North Carolina should be they're good to scare there.
Izzo and March.
I got Michigan State, you know what I'm saying, being Mississippi State, and they, like I said, North Carolina should be a scary game for them. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon, come on, man. That's like Boise State and Smurf turf, man. Come on, move along.
Do us, Bryce Drew. Come on now, give him some love.
Yeah, man, but come on, man. Alabama and Charleston, that one kind of intrigues me, man. I gotta see how tall the front line on Charleston can kind of match up. I think Alabama right here, man, they play in the SEC conference, man, and they kind of play. I'm not saying they don't play anybody, but they kind of, you know what I'm saying, they get credit for, you know what I'm saying, wins that ain't necessarily like, you know what I'm saying, they just blow people out, right? But like the teams that they supposed to beat, they don't. Not saying a 4-13 match. I'm not saying a 4-13, upset's going to happen here, but, Alabama probably, blows these guys out, but I just don't see, dude. I just don't see Alabama, getting past a Michigan State or North Carolina out of that bracket. If North Carolina, or Michigan State, whoever, wins that World War, I don't see them, beating Alabama. I don't see Alabama beating either one of them. Moving along, Clemson. I kind of wonder why the heck Clemson's in here in the first place. You know what I mean? ACC, y'all talk about why the Big East ain't got, but this many teams. Why does the ACC? I get Duke, I get North Carolina. Outside of that, we had the homie was crying 2 weeks ago. Now and they didn't make the tournament. Georgia Tech, NC State, they stole a bid from like how many other automatic champions. So again, I can go down to ACC. Come on, man. They're ACC football. I'll hug you all the time. ACC basketball this year, nah, man. Duke didn't win a game against North Carolina. Didn't win a game against North Carolina, right? Flipowski was flipping out, thinking that he got, we all know, but he didn't get touched. Yeah, man, come on, man. Nah, man. So Clemson, with their little PJ, what's his name, PJ Hall, that he might be the next Jeff Foster, right? That's what he's hoping. No, I'm serious. Ain't no shame in that. Jeff Foster played 11 seasons with the Pacers, man. But
shout out Jeff.
But no, man. New Mexico, Clemson should be playing in NIT. I'm not no disrespect. They're playing in NIT, but New Mexico there, Baylor over Colgate. They don't have enough size. They can get hot on you, man. But Nevada, I think Nevada, moves on. Arizona probably blows those guys out. Then you get a little Brandon. I don't have Arizona. I don't have Arizona going that far, friend. I do not, man. You can't trust that team is motivated seemingly by who's playing, who's going to be scouting us, who's going to be watching us. So I don't really have Arizona going that far at all. Like I said,
how far do you have them?
What, Brandon? They probably take an L against Nevada, friend. It might just happen. It might just happen.
You got the Alford love.
It might just happen, man. Alford don't necessarily like to play zone, but it might just happen, man. But out of this entire bracket, I still believe North Carolina is the best team. You know what I'm saying? So I got North Carolina going to the Final Four. I said it on one of my little lives. I thought North Carolina again, man. I'm not saying it's an easy task to sweep Duke. It shouldn't be, but they did, and they handled their business, kind of like a Purdue handled their business in the Big Ten. So I get it, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't necessarily have the Jerry Stackhouse and Stoudemire, and Rasheed Wallace's that they've had. So those big, those big names. They got those guys are still great that they have, but they don't have that splash player this year. But nah, man, I like North Carolina going to the Final Four.
Okay, Nick, thoughts on the bracket?
Yeah, I mean, I'm my one principle that I always do when I fill out my brackets. I'm always looking for a 1 seed that I want to nix early on, right? And to me, that's what this is. It's got it written all over. I think Mississippi State or Michigan State, either one could beat North Carolina. To me, again, the principle is whichever of the 4 1 seeds that I think is the weakest, and clearly North Carolina is the weakest of the 1 seeds. So to me, they're not going to the Final Four. They're going to get beat at some point because we know not all 4 1 seeds are going to the Final Four.
All right.
I mean, it did happen one time, but it's not happening this year. So my prediction is Michigan State. I mean, you got Tom Izzo, legendary coach, sitting right there. I mean, granted, they might lose to Mississippi State, but if they beat Mississippi State, I think they're taking down North Carolina. I like your pick, Reef, of Grand Canyon. I think they're going to take down St. Mary's. There's just something about the WCC that in the tournament, to me, they just I don't know. They're good teams. They're really good, fundamental, quality teams. But,
right.
They just don't. Obviously Gonzaga there for a few years was a different story, but yeah, I think Grand Canyon's got a good chance of that one. I like Bam over Charleston. You guys were both clowning on Clemson, both saying New Mexico is going to beat them. I'm 100% in agreement with you guys on that. Here's an interesting fact on that one. Ken Pom has New Mexico ranked higher than Clemson. So I'm pretty sure New Mexico will be favored in that game. I haven't seen the spread or anything on it, but
I'll look for it.
I'd be willing to bet that New Mexico is probably favored as an 11 seed over 6, which is probably unheard of, I'm guessing. So I like New Mexico. I like Baylor. And then obviously, I like Arizona down at the bottom portion there. To me, this is the weakest of the 4 brackets too. So this is the bracket I expect to see the most upsets in as well. Like I said, I like Grand Canyon. I like New Mexico. I like Michigan State potentially taking down North Carolina. So, I think this is the one bracket where you can kind of have some fun when you're filling out your brackets. As a result, and you guys, I'm going to go out there on a limb just because I want to, and I'm going to take Bama in the Final Four.
Oh man,
I like it.
Well, he just signed a new contract to be.
He did.
He just. I don't see it, man. But
who's that? Their coach?
Oh yeah, he's the highest paid coach next year.
Oh really?
Starting next year.
They have been slipping a little bit here of late. They were top 10 in KenPom all year long. Hell, they were top 5 at one point.
Right.
But I think they're down to like 14 or something. So that's always kind of an iffy sign, right? If you're not playing your best ball late in the season, So I probably shouldn't. I really had Arizona, but I kind of wanted to do something different. So fuck it.
I would have took Alabama over Arizona. I like Arizona. I just don't love
I don't trust Alabama. I can't trust them to be consistent. Dan, give your answer, John or Nick. New Mexico is favorite by 2 points right now on DraftKings.
There you go. I'm telling you. Yeah, they're going to win that. I agree with you on that one, Jonathan. The ACC is garbage.
For the 8-9 matchup, Michigan State, and I just lost my thing. The spread right now is Michigan State -1. So take that right now how you wish from there. So to recap, I had Arizona coming out of the West. Jonathan has North Carolina. Nick has Bama, which means we're probably going to get a 4th team is what will end up coming out of this region for him. But I like it. It looks good here. There's some powerful teams there in this one. I can't wait. Like I said, my upsets, I had New Mexico, and I picked St. Mary's, but I may switch in my bracket before I actually submit the actual money pool one to take Grand Canyon. But it's just give me Bryce Drew in that mess. So we'll see. Moving ahead, gentlemen, to the South region. Houston, the number 1 team in this bracket. They've played consistent all season long. Kelvin Sampson, this team until they play the goose egg there against in their finale against Iowa State there. Welcome to the Big 12 as well, Houston. So the 8-9 matchup is sexy again. I like it. Nebraska versus Texas A&M, Buzz Williams' team. I think that's going to be a great matchup. You've got Wisconsin against James Madison Dukes in the 5-12, and then you got Vermont and Duke in the 4-13, which it's funny if you follow Barstool Sports, they're pardon my take, guys, because there's 4 of them. Big Cat and PFT are from Wisconsin and James Madison who are playing each other. And the other 2 guys on their show, one's a Duke fan, the other one went to Vermont. So it's crazy that they're actually in that quadrant with each other, which is funny. NC State, Texas Tech. Texas Tech, the 6th seed. NC State with the magical run, the ACC tournament. Kentucky against our boys from Oakland, John, that we just went to last week and met with them. And then Florida is going to be playing the play-in winner between Boise State and Colorado, and then Marquette and Western Kentucky. Those final 4 down there will be in Indianapolis, Florida, and then Marquette, Western Kentucky. This one, gentlemen, I'm looking at this bracket. I like Nebraska. It could be. I call it a coin toss, but I've got Nebraska, Texas A&M. I'm taking Nebraska in this one. I like the Asian kid. Reminds me of a little Jeremy Lin. Asked the way he plays. Tomanaka, I think is his last name. Mm-hmm. He just lit up the Hoosiers the other night. Buried those threes. Mike Davis before the game says, "Yeah, we got a different strategy we're going to do for Tomanaka," and he went out there and scored the same amount of points he scored the last 2 times that they played him. So didn't change up anything there. I like Wisconsin over James Madison. I like Duke over Vermont. Vermont, I believe, gentlemen, maybe 5-6 years ago, we had this same matchup in the NCAA tournament previously between Duke and Vermont. So a repeat of that. I like NC State to continue the run over Texas Tech. Sorry, John, I got Kentucky over Oakland. Looking ahead, I've got Houston over Nebraska. I've got Duke over Wisconsin in a rematch of the 2015 national championship game. I've got Kentucky over NC State, and then I've got Marquette in Florida. So you can say, yeah, Brandon, you've got chalk in this region off top 4 seeds. And yes, I do. I will admit that. Elite 8, I've got Houston versus Kentucky. I've got Kentucky. Guys, I think Coach Cal, he's got a great team that can sit there. They can get to a championship. They can get to a Final Four. They're just not consistent at all. That's their problem.
They don't play any defense.
They ain't playing
Exactly.
no defense tonight,
Exactly.
bro.
So maybe they nut up one time for Cal, play some defense possibly.
Well,
But
maybe one game. They're not going to do it 4 games in a row.
oh, absolutely. So when I look for consistency, and that's what you need in this tournament, I don't have it from Kentucky. I've got a team that's played most consistent during the season, and that's why I've got Houston coming out of this region. I've got Houston beating Kentucky in the Elite 8, going to the Final Four. So put on your boards. That's 2 number 1 seeds and a 2 seed right now that I have in the Final Four. But
And
I've
I bet
got
another
Houston.
number 1 seed's coming up too. We know that. We know
We'll
who
see.
that other 1 seed
We'll
is.
see. But yeah, I got Kentucky in Elite 8. I was going to put them in the Final Four, but I said, damn, they're not consistent enough. If they can just get consistent, play a little defense, maybe 1 or 2 games, maybe. But Coach Cal's going to do enough to make Big Blue Nation happy, just enough where he doesn't get on the hot seat where he has to be forced out on his own.
Unless them kids know like Daryl Morey or Sam Presti or Masai Ujiri from the Toronto Raptors, one of them, you know what I'm saying, general manager types is there scouting them. Brandon, they ain't going to the Elite 8. I get it. They can put up a lot of points. They can. And really, and be honest with you, them dudes should come back, but the NBA overpays for potential, so they out, right? But Oakland probably going to lose because they're a little bit too small. You know what I'm saying? If they can get into a foul battle with UK, maybe kind of keep it close. They got the shoot. Goki, he's a shooter his damn self. He ain't the level of guard that Shepard is, but you know he's a good enough shooter. You know what I mean? But like I said, they a little bit too thin. They a little bit too, you know what I'm saying, not necessarily long. So you know what I'm saying, if they can make it a foul battle, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like that, and kind of control the boards that way. I couldn't, Brand. I can't put Kentucky nowhere near anybody's Elite 8, friend. I can't. Will they make it a weekend? Absolutely, man. Cal can't afford that. Can't. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no Robert Morris over here.
I'm trying to be different.
No more Robert Morris.
Nobody's going to take Kentucky.
Yeah, no more Robert Morris over here, man. I kind of like Marquette to make it to the Final Four. If you ask me, will Houston beat Longwood? Absolutely. If you ask me, that kid, you know what I'm saying, those guys kind of play, that team Nebraska plays better Big Ten. They play better Big Ten basketball than they do outside their conference, man. So that kind of gives me somewhat of a pause when you say, well, like, I get it that he does all these just things, but like they kind of thin up front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got one guy. You know what I mean? So I kind of like Texas A&M to win that game, because like, man, people kind of compared him to like a young Steph Curry. Not yet, bro. Not yet, man. Not yet. I mean, he's good, but like not yet. Not where you know what I'm saying. Y'all remember Davidson, but James Madison, Wisconsin, Brand, they might be a little upset there, man. So I'm gonna go because there's always an upset with 5-12, right? So I went with the upset with James Madison. You know what I mean? Duke of Vermont. This is redemption. Should be for Duke after, you know what I'm saying, lackluster. Like you do not want, Duke does not want to, like, you flirting with IU territory here. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'll just decide, but like, man, no, lackluster performance. Jeremy Roach, remember a couple years ago, this kid was a lottery pick. Chose to come back to school and, you know, the more pick parts of his game, man. But this should be somewhat of this run that I'm saying Duke is going to be on. I'm not saying, like, when you say Elite 8, I think Duke can get to Elite 8. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, Jeremy Roach, Filipowski, because they probably not going to be there next year. So
You chose Duke more than Kentucky?
Yeah, I only answer I do. I really do. I do.
Yeah.
Brandon, the Kentucky kids, their mind is in the NBA already. Their mind ain't in here. You know what I'm saying? Cal, okay, Cal, we got to get you 4 more games. Okay, Cal. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that.
But Texas Tech, NC State again. NC State, they play those ACC schools better than they play anybody else. I can't take them. I couldn't take them over Texas Tech. You know what I'm saying? So I got.
I like Marquette too. Trust me, I wanted to take Marquette. Problem is, they did a great first half, and then they just completely fell apart against UConn.
Who you talking about? Oh, well, come on, man.
Marquette.
UConn. I just told you, man. UConn could be the G League team for real. For real.
Yeah.
So I kind of like I said, man. I like Houston to meet up with Marquette, and like I said, Marquette to beat Houston.
So you're taking Marquette. Okay. Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you guys. I think this bracket might look pretty chalky by the end of it. I am going to take one slight difference here in a bit, but yeah, I like Houston. I like Nebraska. Those first two. Honestly, Texas A&M to me was a little overseeded at 9. I had 14 losses on the season. I know they played a tough schedule, but yeah, to me, I thought it was a little questionable that they even got in, quite honestly. But anyway, I'll take Nebraska in that one. I do like Wisconsin and Duke both. I think that 4-5 there is going to be chalk. I'll take Texas Tech, but here's where I'm going to differ from you guys, just because. Give me Oakland. Fuck it.
Can't be, baby. Can't be.
And then I'll take Florida and Marquette, and basically, the rest of the way, I think I'm taking the favorites. I'll take Houston. I'll take Duke. I'll take Texas Tech then, and I'll take Marquette. I'll take exactly what you guys, I think, both had, Houston and Marquette in that Elite Eight game. I definitely see that happening. And I'm going to take Marquette as well, just because fuck Kelvin Sampson.
It's all about ethics right there. So,
right.
Yeah, I've had people I've looked on Twitter, and a lot of people are talking about Colorado being a dark horse. I don't know. They got to get past that playing game, which I didn't know this was the first year I've seen that the playing game actually had some 10 seeds, because in the past it was 11s. So now
it's because all those bids getting stolen, right? So you got your Oregon and NC State and Duquesne as your 11 seeds.
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico even as well, who technically the committee even said that New Mexico stole a bid too. So New Mexico wouldn't have been in the tournament had they lost to San Diego State.
Yeah. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Brings us to the Midwest bracket. Let me bring it up on my TV here so I can see it. All right, Midwest bracket. We've got the Purdue Boilermakers, Boilers, number 1 team on this region. Utah State against TCU in the 8-9 matchup. Gonzaga versus McNeese. I thought McNeese was McNeese State at one point, but maybe they took the state off. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the same.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one thinking that. Kansas versus Samford. Kansas without 3 of their top guys. They're supposed to have 2 of them back possibly for this first-round game. We'll see how rusty they are. South Carolina and Oregon, Creighton and Akron, Texas, and then they're going to play a play-in winner between Virginia and Colorado State, and then Tennessee and St. Peter's. Gentlemen, the Purdue Boilermakers will win the first game of this first round against a 16 seed, so we don't need to worry about that. I've got them playing TCU in the second round. I got TCU beating Utah State in the 9 seed over the 8. I've got Gonzaga and Kansas meeting each other. I do think Kansas, people keep saying upset. I don't see it. I think even with Hunter Dickinson back in there, I got Gonzaga and Kansas there. I've got Kansas actually beating Gonzaga. So I got Purdue and Gonzaga up in the Sweet 16 against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Down below, I've got a little bit of an upset, gentlemen. I've got an 11 seed that's going a little deep. I've got Oregon beating South Carolina, and I've got Oregon beating Creighton. I got Oregon in the Sweet 16. Dana Altman has never lost a first-round game in his NCAA tournament history. And 5 of the last 10 years, they've gone to the Sweet 16. Dana Altman's gone to the Sweet 16. So with those numbers, I'm going to take Oregon to kind of go that little quadrant to the Sweet 16. They're going to match up against Tennessee. I like Texas knocking off Virginia and Colorado State winner, whoever it is, but then Tennessee beat them. So looking at my Sweet 16 matchup going to the Elite 8, it's a rematch in the 1994 Midwest Regional Final, Purdue and Kansas, but this time Purdue actually gets the damn thing done, a la no Big Dog Robinson. I got Purdue beating Kansas. I've got Tennessee beating Oregon. So I got a rematch of 2019, the epic game with Ryan Klein firing those 3 balls, and then Carson Edwards, Purdue versus Tennessee in the Midwest Regional Final. and then this is the year finally Purdue makes it to the Final Four where we can get the monkey off the back and everybody can get off Purdue's ass for not having a team to make it. Part of their mission would be accomplished here. But I know most Purdue fans would be somewhat at least happy if they bow out at some point. But for them, it's got to be the Final Four here. I'm taking the Boilers to go to the Final Four on this side of it. John?
With Kansas being a question mark, man, wouldn't surprise me if Sanford beats them, man. But I still went with the bigger team. I think Kansas meets Gonzaga. You know what I'm saying? What's left of Gonzaga and Kansas, you know what I'm saying? Purdue eats up on its way to that, you know what I'm saying, coming out of that bracket. I like Oregon. I did watch a couple Oregon games, late night. You should watching them Oregon games, man. They got a pretty floor up there. You know what I'm saying? Oregon. But that team is they play with a lot of similar, but they don't necessarily have the depth or the high basketball IQ that Arizona has. That's why they have the athleticism. They got a lot of that athleticism on their front line. So they are a little scary. But I thought South Carolina, this is the turnaround team for them, man. This is actually a little bit of a scary South Carolina team. So I got South Carolina over them. Creighton is probably the frailest 3 seed in this tournament. I'm just sorry, man. Creighton can seemingly light it up for you on some nights and get you to, 60, 70 points. You feel like, man, and other nights, man, they playing another mid-major just like them, and it's like, they fell apart. They'll beat Akron. Who damn sure probably should have made it here. If you look at the championship game, the end of the MAC tournament, how that all kind of played out.
That was wild.
At Kent State, but man, Creighton is just too big for Akron. Creighton to win that game. Creighton, I think, concedes to South Carolina. That would still be an upset. You playing a three versus 6. Texas, I didn't really have a whole lot of Texas has a lot of they had a lot of talent coming into it, and as soon as they had a little controversy where the coach lost his crap on the sideline because they was putting hook and horns down. I know down there that's a big thing. I know it's a big thing, but how he handled it was just totally I don't know, man. It was. I don't know. He didn't handle it well. Anyway, but if Texas is a 7 seed, it's like the 7 seed that you don't care about. You care about Tennessee. You care about St. Peter's, man. St. Peter's, you know what I'm saying? We remember the magical run they had, from years back. This is a different crew.
I was worried they could have been a 16 with Purdue and they would have done the run it back. Yeah, I was nervous it was going to be a run back game.
But here's the deal, though, man. Coach Barnes coaches Tennessee, man, and you can't coach. You can get Coach Barnes a Tennessee team to the Sweet 16, but they
it's like Purdue and Painter. You expect them to go far, and then just those two teams. And it's crazy that they're in the same region.
They'll beat Texas. They'll beat Texas. I don't know if they beat South Carolina. Which is so. Yeah. I like I said, I got Purdue though. You know what I'm saying? Going to the Final Four. Barn health. Barn, you know what I'm saying? Barn health. There's really no supremely athletic. Yeah. There's really no supremely athletic team with a backcourt that's outside of Tennessee. And again, Tennessee's gonna get. I'm telling you, Tennessee's gonna get upset somewhere in the mix in here before. You know what I'm saying? They even had to South Carolina. Yeah, when that happens, but there's really no team that can speed them up. I don't think.
Do you think Kansas guards could? I'm a little nervous in the Kansas game that Kansas guards are bigger and they're faster, and that's what Purdue's guards have had issues in the past, was bigger, quicker guards. So that's where that makes me nervous if Kansas would get to that part. That's where it could be tripped up.
Mm-hmm. Nah, give me Purdue Final Four.
Okay, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, I would just say I really think Purdue got a great draw. Not only obviously going Indianapolis to Detroit, which, you could argue UConn and Houston kind of get that same advantage from a regional perspective as well. So, but not only that, I mean, UConn got screwed with their draw because of their bracket. And I think Purdue, the one team I do think that would scare me would be Tennessee if they can get there. I think Tennessee maybe could beat them. I don't see anybody else in this bracket beating Purdue though. So
their guards are pretty physical too, and that's another thing that makes me nervous.
And the Kansas thing, I mean, I'm with Jonathan on that. I really think Samford's going to have a chance to beat them. So I'll take Gonzaga to the Sweet 16 to meet Purdue, and you know, if that's the case, I think Purdue's got to be really happy. I mean, I really don't see Gonzaga being much of a problem for them at all. I do like Oregon over South Carolina. It seems like these 6-11 games are, you know, especially with, you know, 3 of the 11 seeds being basically major conference teams with NC State, Oregon, and New Mexico all getting 11 seeds. You know, I think 11 seeds, you know, might be the 12 seeds of this year, you know, meaning knowing that there's going to be at least one, maybe a couple upsets there. Of course, we just said that New Mexico wouldn't even be an upset, though, right?
Right.
And then, yeah, I like Creighton. I think Creighton, Tennessee is going to be a Sweet 16 matchup as well. Be interesting. You know, you were talking about Dana Altman. Be interesting, you know, if they can get past South Carolina, see him go up against his old school in Creighton in the second round.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of neat. And then, yeah, so I'll take Tennessee over Creighton. I'll take Purdue over Gonzaga, and then I'll take Purdue over the Volunteers to get to that much needed
like
Final
the fact
Four.
that the three of us have Purdue in this region. I don't like that whatsoever. Yeah, kind of as we said, and John, I don't know if okay, there you are, gentlemen. The guards, and I've said it all season, John. We've talked on our podcast. Physical guards. Tennessee's got physical guards. Kansas got physical guards. Gonzaga, they've played before in the Maui, and we've kind of seen. They also played Tennessee, so they have that. That also kind of could be a disadvantage that Tennessee now has seen Edey once already. They've seen Braden Smith. It was early in the season. But you have that experience there. And like you said, if Tennessee can get up there, I think we may have an equivalent to the game that it was in 2019 between these two there for that conference final. Oregon, Creighton-wise, I can see Creighton. They are a dark horse to me where I could see them making a run and getting actually past Tennessee. I do. If they can shoot, I can see them beating Tennessee. But I have them getting beat by Oregon. So that would throw out my strategy for that. But I can, if I had to look at a team that can make a run like that, I would say Creighton. But other than that, like you said, Purdue's region, I was fairly happy when I saw the draw.
Because Creighton doesn't scare you for Purdue, does it?
No, they got an athletic big man that's 7 foot, though. But I think when it comes to it with him and Edey, I think I think the obviously advantage goes to Edey there, but
yes.
I mean Utah State's also got a 7-footer themselves, but we'll see what happens to that. No, it's the only teams that scare me are Tennessee and really Kansas. Those are the two teams that would be tough for me as a Purdue fan looking at this bracket, keeping an eye on. But can Tennessee make it? Is Kansas healthy enough? Can they make it? Hunter Dickinson, I feel like, is a Purdue killer, so it would not shock me in that matchup for him to go off for 29 and 14 or something like that.
They're not going to get there anyway, so don't worry about it.
So we'll see. All right, gentlemen. So Final Fours as of right now, I've got UConn, Arizona, Houston, and Purdue. Nick has got UConn, Bama, Marquette, and Purdue. Jonathan's got Iowa State, North Carolina, Marquette, and Purdue. So now we're at the Final Four. We've got our national championship game and our champion. And John, you're getting that sweet tea. It looks like they're a little cup of nice tea you're drinking. So we're going to start with you on this one, John. Who's your Final Four matchup, national championship game, and your champion?
We haven't had back-to-back national championships since Joakim Noah, just the homie. I don't think. I got UConn, back-to-back national championship.
Well, that's nice. Who do you have them playing against?
Hold on. Let me see.
It's either Marquette or Purdue.
Purdue.
Okay.
I don't know if that's gonna get us in trouble. But Purdue.
So you got
now the matchup y'all looking for. So the 7-foot matchup y'all looking for, the one guy that can kind of look. That's UConn got that guy. UConn also got a whole bunch of other guys that's like, you know what I'm saying. They got, switchblade guys. You know what I mean, utility guys. You know what I'm saying. Any guy that they got, again, could probably play a G League game. You know what I'm saying, with some comfortability. You know what I mean. I'm not saying they're not lottery picked out like that, like they have been in years past, but they got some good. They got some good basketball players. So, you know what I'm saying.
They're a scary team. Scary team.
Absolutely.
Sure. So, Nick.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have the same exact championship game that John just said. So I'll take UConn over Bama. I'll take Purdue over Marquette. And hey, I've been saying it all year. Virginia did it once. They lost to the 16, came back the very next year and won it all. Purdue's on that same track. It just feels that way. It's felt that way to me.
You're
all
an IU
year.
fan, so you're just trying to jinx it is what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
I'm just saying how I truly feel is what I'm saying. And I think they're primed for it. I think they're ready for it. To have that chip on your shoulder for 365 days, to know that you're, in this case, just the second team to ever lose to a 16 seed as a 1. I mean, it's just got to be, just fuel to the fire. And they're already one of the best 3 teams in the country. They got the best player in the country. They got one of the best coaches in the country. I mean, to me, lock them in. Boiler up, baby.
Okay, so John's got UConn. Nick's got
Lafayette.
Purdue. All right, gentlemen, this was tough for me because I look at this bracket. I look at my Final Four of UConn, Arizona, Houston, Purdue. I can easily see all 4 of them winning the title. I told you, Nick, I had 6 teams winning. There's my 4 that could possibly win this title. UConn is a freaking juggernaut. They are a juggernaut, and they are playing the best ball right now. They're the number 1 seed, the only one that didn't lose in their conference tournament. They've been consistent all season long. They win on the road. They win at home. They've got tournament experience. They return guys. They've got a great head coach. They are right now, like you said, John, it has been since 2007, 2008, since a team has repeated, and UConn is putting themselves right back in that position to do it again. So out of UConn and Arizona, sorry, Arizona, I know it's a great homecoming. I've got UConn coming out of that side. I just domination. Like I said, they head and bolts are a top overall seed. They've played great. They look like the best team out there. The other side, Houston and Purdue. I got Purdue beating this one. Number 1, Calvin Sampson. Get him out of there. But Purdue needs to get to that, not just the Final Four then, but get to that next step to make the fans happy. All right, that they won't be on Painter's ass for a failure, right? And they won't consider it a complete failure. Not at least you're getting to the national championship game. So I've got Purdue beating.
All right, hey, before you say this, how perfect is this? We all 3 have the same championship game. John and I have already said we had 1 on each side, so you get to break the tie here.
I do. There's a lot of times, guys, that I want to go with my heart, and I want to go with, and I get an idiot. I'm reminded of the live stream I did with Purdue and Tennessee when Purdue won that game. I remember the live stream I did when it was Purdue and Virginia, and you see in that video my heart just completely fall out of me when Virginia hits that shot to go to overtime. That's a live stream that's memorable. It's a 5-second clip is everywhere on the Facebook page and everything. So you live for those moments. So I like in my heart says you got to take Purdue. Like this is the recipe is there. The guys are there. You have to take Purdue. And then I got my other shoulder. I got my brain. It's like, dude, UConn is they're too good. If you want to win, you're looking to win money, right? And you want to make up a good bracket and you want to say you're right. You got UConn, how good they are, the pedigree, the history, what they've done last year. You got to take them at that point, right? But fuck it. We ain't doing it this year, boys.
Oh, wow.
I got to take the Boilermakers. God damn it. This is it. You have went the entire season, 365 days, saying to right that wrong you just did last year. As a Purdue fan, there is no better chance, there is no better time than now for them to go out and win this national championship. So that's my pick. I'm taking the Boilermakers to cut down the nets because, damn it, if not now, when?
Now.
Yeah.
Let's go,
Amen.
Boilermakers.
Amen. Boiler
Let's
up.
go. Let's go. I love our picks. Love them.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
I love
as hell,
that we all
and
have
I
the
will
same
be nervous as hell.
championship game.
Now, yeah, I don't want you to sidetrack me there and trying to tell me to jinx us that you're cheering for the Boilers here. So because I also was last year at the bar here in Westfield on St. Patrick's Day and drowning my sorrows as I was watching as a lot of fans were mocking me and stuff as the Boilermakers went down. So, but we got it, gentlemen. So like you said, Nick, the 3 of us have the same national championship game, UConn and Purdue. Me and you've got Purdue. John's going with UConn. I'll make sure that gets sent to Brandon Brantley, just so he knows about that. But overall, guys, I'm excited for another tournament. Let me ask you this before we end. There's talks from people, the SEC conference, Sankey, and a few other conferences.
Man, don't make me start with him.
They want to expand this tournament to another 32 teams.
Yeah.
So we go to 90-something.
No.
Are you for it? Are you against it? Does it water it down?
Yeah. They want to put
I
in
agree.
more. They want to put in more ACC teams. They want to put in more. IU would have got in. They want to put in more. You know what I'm saying? It's not the mid majors that they not get. It's not more of those because you know what? I don't think a whole lot of mid majors got called to be in the NIT either. You know what I mean? So they just want more. They just want more Power 5 teams. There is some type of like math that kind of goes along with that when you talk about ratings or whatever. But like, nah, man, it just waters down the product.
It's just a money grab, like all the conference realignment is, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
all about money. Period. Money, money, money. So
Cool.
no, yeah, I think it'd be terrible, but I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to come at some point. I know everybody was going from 64 to 68. People are like, at first, but now it's kind of grown on everybody. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure, like I said, it's coming down the pipe. So final things, Crossroads Sports. Happy 7th birthday anniversary today, Crossroads Sports. Nick, you were in the war room for the very first Bracketology on the first day of Crossroads Sports there at the Omni. So you are kind of at the founding day. You were there for it. So, but yeah, 7 years we've done it. Oh, we lost John. But Nick, no, I want to thank you for joining us today, man. Your college basketball insight. We didn't get you much on this year talking college ball. I know you had other prior commitments, which is good and fine. But anytime we have you on, we love your insight. We know the people love it. We've heard from people that they like what you do and the stuff that you can. You actually make some sense compared to some of the knucklehead stuff that me and Jonathan say. So, but we appreciate you coming on.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. It's always a blast.
So perfect. Thanks, Nick. We'll good luck in the tournament. We'll see how our picks do.
All right. Take care, fellas.
All right.
Yeah. John, that was our guy, Nick. We've done our picks. By the way, I'm going to need you to clip that little 20-second thing where I pick my boilers, so we can put that little clip out there on that because that will be something to see. Any final thoughts, John? We got a show on Wednesday night. We'll talk a little more college basketball. I know Tanner Penrod's going to call in. He wants to talk college basketball.
There'll be all kinds of coming in, man. There's going to be some surprises.
Oh, okay. Surprises. Interesting. Okay. 7 years, John. Crossroads Sports birthday.
Oh, yeah. Everybody should tune in, man. It's going to be all kinds of surprises, man. It might be an off-the-cuff show, man. We'll be talking serious business as well. You know what I'm saying? Calls, but they still got to download some NFL news. Chase Young just got signed up with the Saints, man. Look like how's that back? That division, you know what I'm saying? We'll be talking about that. We still got a deep dive. I still lose my mind. Like, they just gave away Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah.
They just gave away Justin Fields.
Love it.
And, you know what I'm saying, the draft is coming, and we'll break all those things down, too. Who's going to be the number one overall pick now? It's going to be a quarterback. Which one is it going to be? You know what I'm saying? With that kind of situation. So, yeah, man, I can't wait for Wednesday. Everybody can still follow the story and the situations that we can, and the news that we kind of put out there, either at Crossroads Sports on Twitter or Three Foodsmen on Twitter or Instagram. Crossroads Sports on Instagram, or as y'all know, on Facebook as well, man. So, like, yeah, continue to follow sports. Don't never stop, and neither do we when we reporting it. So we're talking about it. So, yeah, follow.
Be sure to join the Crossroads Sports Bracketology bracket challenge on ESPN. Join that group. See if you're smarter than me and Jonathan. Maybe not Nick. Nick's probably smarter than everybody, but see if you're smarter than us. You can beat us. We've already got 11 or 12 people right now included in there. So we'll keep sharing the link going up to Thursday before the game, and keep the conversation going on Twitter, on Facebook. We'll continue it there. Until then, we'll see you guys on Wednesday night. Get those brackets ready. Get those erasers and maybe those red pens ready too. You might need them when it comes Thursday.
Thanks for watching.